So Anthropic just released something called Claude Design. It's basically an AI tool that lets you design professional marketing visuals like emails, landing pages, all of that without needing any design skills. I run an email marketing agency for ecom brands, so obviously I had to test this immediately to see if it's actually useful for building client emails. And yeah, I think it is. Most Shopify brands are sending emails that look like this. Like, it works, kind of, but it's not doing your brand any favors. And hiring a designer just for email templates, that's expensive. So most brands just don't bother, and that's revenue left on the table. So I tested Claude Design this week specifically for ecom emails to see if this is something I could actually use with clients. And it's been cool to see how fast it works. Like, we're talking 5 minutes start to finish. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did, how I set up the brands, what prompts I used, and how to get it into Klaviyo. Super straightforward. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is Claude Design. You can access it by going to claude.ai/design. You need a subscription for this, so that'll be a Claude Pro, Claude Teams, or Claude Max, I believe it was. When you get here, you can see cool examples, so like organic loaders, cosmic scale animation, so a lot of different prompts that you can use to start off with. We're not going to be using any of this, but it is cool that it's available. What we're going to be doing is we're using the prototype here. So here you can put in your project name, so you can put in your brand name or email designs or whatnot. I'm just going to put in YouTube vid, and you want to select high fidelity. So you press create, and then when you get to this page, you want to start giving the context behind your brand that you want to do designs for. So in this example, we're going to be using Matmos. It's a cool brand that has existed for some time now. So they were the ones that invented the lava lamps, and we're going to be using their homepage as a sort of guide for branding. And so if I go here, I actually have a mobile view of the homepage done as a screenshot. So you can just, go to the mobile view, click on inspect, and then you can screenshot this by using a Chrome extension called Go Full Page. And then it just captures the entire homepage in mobile format or desktop, whatever you want. The reason we're using a mobile format is because we want to have the email design be mobile optimized. So look good on both desktop and mobile, since we're going to be not using HTML for this email when we export it into Klaviyo, but rather just the image version of it. And so we have the mobile view of the homepage here. What else we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding in the logo and other images that we might need for the email that we have planned to do here. So I'm just going to be giving the logo, giving the hero image, and just some product images as well. Claude Design can also take images from the websites that you give it, although it's just easier if you just give all the images that you want used. Now, before we actually head into creating an email design, what we want is the copy for it. And so here in this other tab for Claude, I had Claude just do a bit of research on Matmos, so that it just went through the entire page, different links like social media, etc. Learned as much as it could about the brands, the brand voice, the tone, the branding guidelines, etc. that they have. Yeah, I asked it to make it a bit more concise. Then it came up with this type of brand research document, which has a ton of information. Then I told Claude to create email ideas for it. And so it came up with some email ideas. So we can see here there are 5 ideas. I just went with the final one, which was for the ones who remember. It created an email copy for this, just the final output. We are only going with a certain part of the email since I just don't want it to be super long. Yeah, that's pretty much the process behind it. Okay, so when we head back to Claude Design, we have the email copy ready. What we want to do is we want to give a bit of context. So I already put in the logos, the images that we want to use for the email. And now we want to give it a bit of context. So I wrote out the prompt, help me create a visual e-commerce email for the brand Matmos. I attached different images that will be useful, including a screenshot of the entire homepage so you can reference the branding, etc. This is just so that it can go through, it actually knows what we're giving it, and so in terms of branding, it knows that for the fonts, for the design language, etc., what to look for. What else I'm going to be sharing is a small prompt that just makes sure that when Claude Design is making the email, that it's going to be mobile optimized, since we want it to be something that we can actually use for both desktop and mobile. So here we just want it to be something that's visually good and that we can take and get into Figma, which I'm going to be sharing with you as well very soon. But yeah, here's just a prompt to have it be mobile optimized, 600 pixels wide, and as if it's viewed on a 375 pixel phone screen. And then we're going to be just giving the copy that we have here. And so we're just gonna click send. It has images that we want to use, so like the hero image, the product images, it has the logo. It also has a screenshot of the entire homepage. So it should be fairly simple for it to just take the design of it and then replicate it. So we just need to wait a tiny bit for it to just scan through everything and actually create the email. Okay, so here's the email that Claude Design came up with. Just scrolling through this, it looks pretty cool, although I don't think it's the exact right branding. Since the email isn't fully on brand, I just told it to check over the Matmos homepage and make sure that the branding is on point. And I also just gave it again the home pages, so the desktop and mobile views, so that it can just go through it and then make any changes if needed. Okay, so here's the final design that Claude Design came up with. As you can see, it's a lot different than the one that we first saw, and that's usually the case with AI. You just have to give it a bit more context on what you actually want it to do. So it's somewhat did a good job initially, although it was still off-brand. So just giving it more context and actually going to the homepage, checking everything out, making sure that the branding is on point, that actually worked a lot in our favor. So here, if I just zoom in a tiny bit, so like 75%, we can see here that in general, the coloring is there. It's using the logo at the top very well. It even has an announcement bar at the top, which is cool to see. It has the hero image, the hero section, which is pretty well presented. It looks very clean and more on brand. The bridge section is, I would say, okay. It's pretty decent. It can be better. But yeah, the product sections, again, like there are things that can be better here, of course. But just, you know, it's prompt given to an AI to create an email from scratch based on just the homepage and the copy that it's given and just the images. You know, just a bit of tinkering here and there, and it's actually an email that I would send out. I know for certain that this would bring in a lot of revenue. So yeah, I would say this is very decent. You can see here on the left as well that it did figure out what was wrong with it and like the coloring and everything, and then just fixed it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. You can go further and you can like leave comments on different aspects, like leave a comment like change this background to be black or whatever you want, or you can add this here. And you can also just go to the edit section and actually change text or just the fonts or whatnot. So you can use the Claude Design editor and commenter, which is one thing you can do. Or what else you can do is you can go to share and you can export as standalone HTML. And so this will create a HTML file that you can actually import into Figma, so you can have bigger control over the design and just have the final finishing touches that you want made. Okay, so here I just generated the HTML file. So what we want to do next is we want to go into Figma and open up a new document using a tool called HTML Design. Like I'm sure there are other tools as well that creates HTML into design. I've just been using this one and it works really well. And use this to import the HTML straight into Figma. And so here I'm going to go into plugins, HTML to design. Then it's going to be asking for the actual file. And so here I just drag and drop the HTML straight into the box here. And you can just leave the same settings. So like use auto layout, and then you can leave everything else turned off. Wait for it to process through. And then you have the email imported straight into Figma. And here what I like to do is take this email out and delete this frame. And then now you have an actual email design in Figma made by AI that you can now edit in Figma. You can double click on the text and just remove anything you want, change anything you want. You can change the logo sizing, you can change the images here, you can change the positioning of the text. You can do anything you want like you would in Figma. And so this is really cool for people who use Figma and just want to get some new ideas for emails, or if they just want to use AI to create simpler email designs like this one here that's, you know, fairly easy to replicate for AI, and then just have like a few things to change around. It's really good for that. In this case, there are some things that I would change, although in general it looks decent. And so if we actually compare it to an email by Matmos that they sent out 2 months ago, it's very apparent that AI nailed the branding very well. And I would even say that the design here by the AI looks a bit more appealing than the emails that Matmos is currently sending out. Here, this is definitely something that I would go with. So if you're happy with this email and you want to send it to your email list in Klaviyo, what you can do is you can go to the frame here, scroll to the bottom until you see export, and then you press on 2x. This way, the 600 pixel wide email will be rendered in 1200 pixels, which means that when you upload it into Klaviyo, it just looks a lot better and it looks more clear, it doesn't look blurry. Once you've done that, you can take the image that you've exported from Figma and you can import it into Photoshop, or if you want you can also do it in Figma. I just like to personally use Photoshop for this. You go to the slice tool here and then you can slice it into sections. So this way, when you upload the images straight into Klaviyo, instead of being just one big image, they're smaller images so that they load faster. And so here I'm just slicing it just based on the section, so this is just very rough and not really precise right now. So for the product blocks, you want to section them out so that you can link them separately. Once you're done with that, you can head into File, export and save for web. And then here you can have everything be on JPEG very high. Once you're happy with this, you just go and save it into whatever folder you want. So in this case, you can see here that these are all the sliced images that are here. Now, before we actually get it into Klaviyo, we want to use a tool called I Love Image. We want to compress the images so that when we upload it into Klaviyo, they're very small in file size, so it loads quickly for people who are using a slower internet connection. And we can see here that the sum of the designs before was 1.61 megabytes, and now it's 0.6 megabytes, which is a lot smaller. So again, just download this. And then what we want to do is we want to head into Klaviyo. So when we're in Klaviyo, we want to go and create a new campaign. So you can just pick your audience, go through this. And then when you get to the actual email building phase, you can just pick whatever you want. So you can just create from scratch. Then when you're here, you want to just add image blocks. And here we're going to be adding the images one by one. And then you just follow the same process for all of the images going down. Now here are all of the images imported straight into Klaviyo. And so here what you want to do is you want to also add the alt text. So that'll be just the text that's apparent on the actual image. So in this case, it'll be the gift they'll plug in for years. And then you can do shop the gift guides, and then just add the link to be on the Matmos page. And then do the same thing for all of the other sections as well. Then what you end up is with an email that looks very good, and it's completely done by AI with slight tinkering to just get it right. Here's just the footer section here. You can just have it be the same color as well as the last part of the funnel, or you can just keep it the same. And that's the final email. And then you can head into the preview modes. You can see here how it looks on mobile, and this is definitely something that looks decent. Before I actually send this out, I would tinker it a bit, but in general it looks very decent for something that's designed by AI, just using 1 to 2 prompts, using copy that's also created by AI. So yeah, this I would say once you've done all of the link adding, the alt text, you choose your audience, you choose your subject line and preview text, and then you send the test to yourself. This is something that's pretty much ready to be sent out then. So yeah, that's Claude Design. Honestly, it's been pretty cool to see how far AI tools have come for this kind of stuff. A year ago, you need a designer or Figma skills to get something that looks like this. Now it's just a prompt in 5 minutes. Is it perfect? Not quite. Like, you'll probably tweak a few things before it goes into Klaviyo, but as a starting point, it's pretty solid. And for brands that aren't sending anything because they don't have a designer, this removes that excuse completely. Do I think Claude Design is going to replace all designers like some people are claiming? No. If anything, I think it's going to let the talented designers have an even bigger output. The good ones aren't going anywhere. This just takes the boring stuff off their plates. So yeah, if you want help with your email marketing and getting more revenue from your list, click the first link in the description and book a call. We can take a look at what you've got going on and go from there. If you've got any questions at all about Claude Design or getting this working for your store, just drop them below and I'll help you out. Thanks for watching. See you.